Ford are back in Formula 1 next year, and one of the key reasons for them coming back and backing Red Bull's powertrains is none other than Max Verstappen. He has been labelled as one of the most important pillars for a Red Bull Ford project in Formula 1, one that you never know could yield world championships. Remember back in the day, Ford, they supplied pretty much the entire grid back in the 80s. I think Ferrari were the only team not to run a Ford Cosworth engine during those days, and even into the 2010s, Ford still had a presence in the form of Cosworth. I mean, debatable whether it's actually a Ford or Cosworth, but they were definitely around in the mid-2000s as well, with the likes of Jaguar being involved in Formula 1, although the less said about them, the better. But it's weird how they've come back to now supply Red Bull, the team that took over Jaguar and made them a huge success. But let's have a look at what Ford have been saying ahead of their re-entry into Formula 1 next year, here on the F1 Chronicle, as always, guys. Ford CEO Jim Farley has described Max Verstappen as a cornerstone of Red Bull Ford's efforts to deliver a competitive power unit for Formula 1's 2026 regulations. Red Bull powertrains and Ford are working together on the new hybrid engines that will debut next year, in what is expected to be a major shake-up of the competitive order. Mercedes dominated the last regulation in 2014, and all manufacturers are now pushing to ensure they are not left behind. Speaking at the Italian Grand Prix, Farley emphasised the importance of having Verstappen fully committed to the project, saying, quote, "I think he is one of the most important pillars of foundation for the PU's success. Talking to Max, we at Ford really have grown our respect for him watching this year. The way he has provided stability without drama in an environment where we're all just doing our jobs, I can really see that in his eyes today versus last year." End quote. Verstappen, who has a Red Bull contract through to 2028, recently ended speculation about a possible Mercedes switch by confirming that he will remain with the team next year. His presence provides continuity as Red Bull transitions from Honda power to its own Ford-backed engines. Red Bull team principal and CEO Laurent Mekies highlighted Verstappen's hands-on role in the project, saying, quote, "Max is doing a lot more than just asking for the numbers. He's testing the car in the simulators. He's working with engineers on both sides of the fence to understand how we develop these 2026 cars. Where do we try to get the power? Where do we try to get the downforce? That is how centrally he is to the project." End quote. Honda, Red Bull's current supplier, will move to Aston Martin next year, leaving the Ford partnership as the team's long-term solution. With Verstappen locked in and actively shaping the car, both Red Bull and Ford believe that they have the foundation to challenge for success in F1's new era. Well, you certainly would not discount them at this early stage. Of course, Red Bull, they got no hope of winning anything this year in terms of a championship. They probably are going to get fourth in the constructors overall. Even if Verstappen's pulling off miracles, you've got Mercedes and Ferrari being far more consistent this season. Maybe Mercedes under threat a little bit with Antonelli's form, but I wouldn't say Antonelli's form's been that much worse than Yuki Tsunoda But I wouldn't say that Antonelli's form has been that much worse than Yuki Tsunoda in the second Red Bull, so they're kind of comparable in a sense, and George Russell's not been a million miles off of Max Verstappen this year either. So it's going to be interesting to say the very least. Red Bull have to be in the conversation for a title challenge next year in the form of Max Verstappen. They have to be, they got to be in the conversation. Ferrari are in that conversation, McLaren, Mercedes, without a doubt, hell, even Aston Martin. Don't rule them out. They've got a Honda-powered car driven by Fernando Alonso that's designed by Adrian Newey. I mean, seems pretty good to me on paper, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, how much Red Bull is there going to be in this Red Bull Ford powertrain? How much Ford is there going to be? I don't know how heavily involved Ford are. Whether it is effectively buying a badge and putting it on the Red Bull power unit, be like, yes, this is a Ford. We made this with freedom. Whether they're doing that or they're actually getting heavily involved in there, don't know. It's a strange situation because you've got Honda there now, so you don't want to give Honda too much information as they're going to Aston Martin, one of your competitors. It's a weird situation at Red Bull. Transition year is definitely the year. That is the term really we should use when speaking about Red Bull. But guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are Red Bull set up for success with a Ford in the back of their car next year? Give your thoughts in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe, guys. As always, if you want to see more like this on the world of F1, and we'll see you very soon.